Welcome to Dauchsy Meditations. I've been reading messages and comments about individuals struggling to manifest what they want with the law of attraction, not really seeing their visualizations come to fruition. So, I wanted to create this audio to help those that have been struggling with the law of attraction. I personally have absolutely struggled using the law of attraction, especially when I first started out. So, I tried to think about what helped me the most and what helped me break through that threshold to where I began to actually see my visualizations come to life. So after thinking about it for a while, I realized it was this one thing that I learned a while back. I had learned about it 2 different times actually. The first time I learned it was from a program called the Sedona Method. The second time I learned about it, it was actually in my counseling program. It's used in a theory called logotherapy, created by Viktor Frankl. I've realized that not many teachers of the law of attraction actually talk about it, but I do think it's the most important thing, especially when you're struggling to attract what you want. It's something that will really help you remove those blocks and start to attract what you want. That one thing is called paradoxical intention. I will explain it in a moment what this means, but for now, just think about this. When using the law of attraction and you are thinking and visualizing about, say, being wealthy or healthy or finding the love of your life, it causes you to also think about the opposite, being poor, unhealthy, lonely, which is, as you know, with the law of attraction, will only bring more of what you think about. In Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching, he states, when people see things as good, evil is created. When people see beauty, ugliness is created. Difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short define each other. High and low oppose each other. So, in other words, when we create one, there is always the opposite, the yin and the yang. Most people's reaction to these opposing thoughts is to try and shut them out completely and avoid them at all cost. We have been taught that if they are not positive thoughts, they must be eradicated immediately. But as you may have experienced, doing this only makes these opposing thoughts stronger and more forceful in your mind. So as you try to remove these negative thoughts, they only become larger and larger, and you end up attracting the opposite of what you wanted in the first place. You are actually working hard to get exactly what you don't want. Those negative thoughts and doubts will always be there in the back of your mind, even when you believe you are only thinking positively. So you may be asking, how can you avoid this? How do I attract what I want without attracting the opposite? Well, this is where paradoxical intention comes in. Paradoxical intention is the deliberate practice of a neurotic habit or thought undertaken to identify and remove it. So what this means is that you will be intentionally thinking about that opposite negative thought so that you can remove it. I know this sounds counterintuitive, but it works beautifully. Now, I will walk you through some steps on how to go about doing this. So, as said earlier, when thinking and focusing on the positive, there will always be thoughts of the opposite. When you feel these opposite thoughts arise, don't try to push them back, but instead, acknowledge them. Focus and acknowledge these negative thoughts. Again, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but these negative thoughts are there for a reason. It is your ego actually giving you answers to what you fear. And if you listen close enough, you can figure out the root of your fears. Now, in general, If you avoid your fears, the fear will grow and grow until it completely mentally cripples you. So, it is so important to understand and know where your fears come from. Now, when you acknowledge these thoughts, these fears, you need to figure out what the root of these fears are. So, for example, if you are wanting to attract a partner, you may have negative thoughts about not finding a partner. And even further, being alone for the rest of your life. And even further, never receiving love from anyone and all the pain that goes along with it. When you're truly able to acknowledge and face these fears that you have, you can then begin to process and let them go. And to let go, all you need to do is simply take a deep breath and say to yourself in your own words along the lines of, I will be fine no matter what happens to me. I'm happy and content if I attract what I want or not. And then when you breathe out, just let it go. You can now let go of those negative thoughts and go back to thinking about what you want to attract. When you put too much pressure on yourself about the outcome or how you will attract what you want, this actually creates more fear and doubt, creating more thoughts of lack and not having what you want. Just let go of the outcome and how you will attract your desires, and have faith it is coming to you. Now, I know it took a while to explain this process, but this doesn't have to be a long, drawn-out process. All you have to do is acknowledge the fear, find the root, and let it go. Then you can continue on with your positive thoughts. Also, just to add to that, I want to say that if you are struggling with the law of attraction and you are having doubts if it even works, I don't know how much value you have in my word, but trust me, it does work. I will hopefully soon upload a video explaining how the law of attraction has worked in my life. And for me, there's just too much that I have received to believe that it's all just a coincidence. So the best thing you can do is just keep practicing. The brain is like a muscle that when you keep practicing, it will become stronger, and attracting what you want will become easier and easier. You just have to have faith and remove the doubts, and I promise you will be amazed when you see these things come into your life. It is an amazing feeling. And for those of you who have been successful with the law of attraction, please leave a comment explaining how it has worked in your life. Hopefully this will give those who are struggling the motivation to keep going and keep trying. Thank you for listening.